I'm trying to I'm getting ready to unmute it. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm here now. So I was planning to do this anyway. Um, but some news from a couple hours ago. There was a shooting at a high school in St. Louis, Missouri today, and there's at least two dead. A teenage girl and also an adult female. I saw an initial report that said it was a teacher. I don't know if it is a teacher or not. Um, but I wanna we're gonna sit here and I have this video on Republicans on gun control, and we're gonna sit here and watch it, and we're gonna um talk about some things that are important.
I think that's what you find in all of these
Also, some of the audio on this clip is just out like in the left ear. I couldn't find one where it wasn't like that, so
are not people that from one day to the next decide I'm going to go do this. There are indicators ahead of time. That's why the School Safety Act is so important. It creates what is a clearinghouse that provides best practices and allows people to understand what are the pathologies, what are the things that you look for before this happens. And I think in Florida with the red flag law, we've potentially prevented some of these from happening. But that's something that should be passed at the state level, and we should encourage it. With the bill I've offered, we can't even get a hearing on it.
Why do the people even need an AR-15?
Listen, at the end of the day, you're arguing about what they're using to commit this. And
okay, so problem number one with what Marco Rubio, Republican from Florida, is saying about gun control and about, just shootings in general is, he's saying that you're making the argument that it's the weapon. And I've seen this clip before. He's going to go on to say that it's not, if there was no weapon, if it was a different weapon, there would still be the same kind of massacre, right? Okay? So that's his argument. He's arguing, it doesn't matter if it's an AR-15, it could be a car or whatever, as a potential, weapon of destruction and loss of life. And it's like I've stated before, Marco Rubio, he's received a lot of lobbying money from the NRA, over $3 million worth. So it's like I said, when he gets in front of the press and on camera and talks about how, it's not the guns, it's, the people, it 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 kind of boggles my mind a little bit. We're gonna keep watching, and then
the truth of the matter is these people are going to commit these horrifying crimes, whether they have to use another weapon to do it with. They're going to figure out a way to do it.
Wouldn't
Because
it be
in their
easier
mind,
with that kind of weapon, though?
well, I think any weapon is dangerous. Any firearm is potentially dangerous in the hands of a deranged lunatic.
well, he's okay. So I mean, that might be the only thing that he's ever said that I do agree with. That point he made about guns being potentially dangerous in the arms of whoever, because guns are very dangerous. And getting sidetracked. So the thing about these Republicans and gun control is they say what the Democrats proposing is not going to work. What they're trying to do on gun control, it just these proposals don't work. They'll never work. And my argument for that is, number one, not trying it, and not even trying to implement some of these new changes is doesn't number one, it goes completely against democracy. And number two, sorry, they don't ever explain why their legislation won't work. They don't explain why Democrats and why gun control new laws restricting firearms won't work. They don't ever explain why. They just say that they won't work. And then something that's always interesting here, and it's part of the Republican playbook time and time again, they all do it, is shifting the blame onto someone else. And
At the end of the day, the issue here is not the firearm, it's the lunatic, and that's what
he says it's not the firearm, it's the lunatic, which is in, I guess, in turn partly true, but also partly not. The firearm is part of the issue, actually.
we should be focused on is how do we prevent these people? How do we identify them and stop them
Now listen
before
to
they
this.
act?
Listen to
All right?
this.
What steps need to be taken in schools to ensure that they are
Go to
safe
schoolsafety.gov. Schoolsafety.gov is up now. We pushed for that. We're working with one of the parents from Parkland.
So something that's very interesting is he doesn't answer the question. He sits there and says, "Oh, you know, you excuse me, I'm so sorry." Okay. He doesn't answer the question, the reporter's question on what we need to do in schools. And something else is, he mentioned Parkland. He mentioned the Parkland shooting in Florida, where 17 people died, 17 people, they lost their lives. And he says they've been working with a parent from Parkland.
That website exists. It outlines. It's a clearinghouse of all the best
Now listen
practices
to
that
this.
schools can follow. And in many cases, it tracks which schools are following it and which ones are not, including things like safety reports, incident reports. Those are the kinds of things that work. Right now, in many cases, many school districts still don't know or still aren't following the best practices for how to prevent themselves. Again, we need to learn more about this.
So what he just said is, we set up this website for, outlining guidelines and safety guidelines and things that school districts and schools can do to, see potential, tellings of a mass shooting. The problem with this is he's making it seem like since these schools might not be adhering to these new guidelines, or they're not listening to these new guidelines to a perfect T, it's their fault that there's shootings in their schools. That's literally the point he's trying to insinuate here. Instead of blaming the people who make the guns, the people who sell the guns, he's sitting here saying, oh, well, if these school districts follow these rules, maybe we wouldn't have shootings. And then he's going to go on to say something else that is even more incredibly fucking stupid.
Particular case, as of the last thing I've read and heard, there's no link between this murderer and the school he wound up at. But that it's potential. There's a potential that there are some of the things that could have existed at that school that would have made it safer. So I think that.
So he just said there is the potential that there are some things at that school that could have existed that would have made it safer. And he's going to, again, go on to say something, which I actually didn't even notice that point when I first had watched this. He's going to say something, and he's so, number one, he just blamed the school. It's the school's fault. He literally just blamed the school for not being safe enough.
That's the kind of thing that really is important. And we can pass that. We can pass that today. We're going to try to pass that today. You know why it won't pass, potentially? Because the opposition is coming from people on the radical left who believe these pro-school safety initiatives will unfairly target minorities. Now, I would tell you that people of every race, ethnicity, and color are fine with identifying dangerous people and preventing them from killing other people who we've been seeing. Okay?
Sir, do you think there should be armed?
They're 19.
So, I guess he had already said it, and I just wasn't paying attention.
With the bill I've offered, we can't even get a hearing on it.
Why do the people even need an AR-15?
Listen, at the end of the day, you're arguing about what they're using to commit this, and the truth
Hold
of the
on.
matter is these people are going to commit these horrifying crimes, whether they have to use another weapon to do it with. They're going to figure out a way to do it.
Wouldn't
Because
it be
in their
easier with that
mindset,
kind of weapon, though?
Well, I think any weapon is dangerous. Any firearm is potentially dangerous in the hands of a deranged lunatic. At the end of the day, the issue here is not the firearm, it's the lunatic. And that's what we should be focused on, is how do we prevent these people? How do we identify them and stop them before they act?
What do
All
you
right?
think, what steps need to be taken in schools to ensure that they are?
So, did he really already say it?
Are following it and which ones are not, including things like safety reports, incident reports. Those are the kinds of things that work. Right now, in many cases, many school districts still don't know or still aren't
Or
following the best practices for how to prevent themselves. Again, we need to learn more about this particular case. As of the last thing I've read and heard, there's no link between identifying dangerous
Hold on.
people and preventing them from killing other people.
maybe it's not this one.
Okay?
Sir, do you think there should be armed?
There are 19 sets of parents who are never going to get to kiss their child goodnight again.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's
So, again, Ted Cruz calling out the media for politicizing a mass shooting.
where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people,
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
if you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country?
So again, Ted Cruz doesn't explain why Democrats' proposals won't work. He doesn't explain why they would never work. He just says that they're not going to work, and the
Their
media is
child gonna-
biased. And
Again,
Is this
you know, the reporter, he presses him on why does this only happen in America?
The
and
moment to
Ted Cruz
reform
literally
gun laws?
runs away
you
like
know,
a little
it's
bitch.
easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people,
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
if you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American
You know, and then he gets offended that this reporter is asking him these
exceptionalism
questions.
is awful.
I think this aspect of it.
You got your political agenda.
No, it's honestly-
God love you.
Senator, it's not. I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
It is just an American problem, sir.
So he
Mr.
just
Cruz,
literally
why is
starts running
America the
away,
only
and then
country that
they
faces
keep
this
pressing
kind
him
of-
on
You
it.
know what?
Mass shooting?
But you can't answer
This
that.
kind of
You can't answer that,
politicization.
can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this country?
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest
Then
country
why
on
would
earth.
Maybe
So he just said that it's the safest country on earth, which is definitely not fucking true.
And
I don't know
Maybe
what
the
he's
freest,
talking
maybe
about.
the most
Why are our
popular.
kids dying in school?
So again, he gets asked, you know, why are kids dying in schools? You know, why does this happen so often, so much, and only here? And again, Ted Cruz, he runs away from the question like a little bitch, like the
So
little
maybe
bitch
the
that he
most
is.
Why are our
Doesn't give an answer. Doesn't answer why Democrats' proposals don't work. Doesn't give any solutions to the problem. And gets up there and all the time talks about Second Amendment rights and all of this other stupid bullshit.
Kids dying in school.
And he has no answer to this problem except for lobbyist money
children
that he likes to
protected.
take.
And I want teachers that can protect themselves and their students. And you know what? We can achieve this without trying to disarm law-abiding citizens. For me, this is my equalizer. I need a way to protect myself and my children. And my firearm is my equalizer, my tool to do that. And what I've seen from Democrats is them trying to use this
So again, these Republicans, they sit here and they say America is a safe country, but then they also make this point of, I need to have a gun to defend myself from all of these. If it's so safe, what what are you defending yourself from, dumbass? What is it that you need a gun? Also, something else that I really don't understand is, I mean, I guess you could 2 at a time at most. Why the fuck would anyone need a bunch of guns? You can't fucking sit there and shoot 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus guns at one time. It's ridiculous. So someone being able to go in, a young person like the Uvalde shooter, 18-year-old with 2 AR-15 rifles, how, and there are more rifles in this country than there are citizens. There are more rifles in this country than there are people, period. We have the highest number of firearms by a margin than any other country out there. Ours is exponentially higher. And here we are again, like I said, the only country where we have mass shootings like this so often and so much. And these Republicans make these arguments that they say, this is a rights issue, and they don't offer any solutions to the problems. They just say, oh well, what's going to happen when a good guy with a gun, what the good guy with the gun argument. And to that I say, in Parkland, where 17 people died, Nicholas Cruz, the shooter, there was a resource officer, a former sheriff's deputy on campus, who, instead of intervening in the shooting, this resource officer was armed, he ran to safety, he ran for cover, and he did not do what he was supposed to do. So the good guy with a gun argument is completely annexed and out of the question. That is not an argument that has any validity at all. It is completely flat. There is no argument you can make for that, because if that were true, then how come Uvalde, how come Parkland, how come these people killed so many people, and what the fuck happened? The good guy with the gun, are you serious? They make the argument that we need more guns to protect ourselves, and it's like, no. Fucking no. That's the opposite of that's the opposite of what we need. But these people, they get all this money. They can run on this stuff for their campaigns.
Tragedy to their advantage.
And then they say Democrats use these shootings and the dead children to their advantage and politicize the issue. And it's like, until this happens to one of them, they're not going to give a fuck. They don't.
Radical political agenda. It's shameful. Schumer blocking the school safety bill on the floor just yesterday. Sandy Cortez tweeting at me, but she hasn't taken up my offer to actually meet and work together. And of course, we saw Beto acted like a total jerk and tried to use the deaths of these children as a prop to advance his political candidacy.
So what she's talking about there is when Beto went up to Greg Abbott in the middle of a press conference after the Uvalde shooting and started shouting at him, and caused a big stir all over the place. And it's, again, Lauren Boebert sitting here saying, Chuck Schumer, fucking whoever else she just said, I can't even remember now. And it's like, there's never any blame on the Republican side. It doesn't exist. All of the blame is the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones destroying the country, obviously, because those are the ones who are, advocating for gun reform, and, that's bad, When
9/11 happened, we didn't ban planes.
So she just made the argument that when 9/11 happened, we didn't ban planes. So a couple notes there. Number one, she acts like 9/11 happens every single year. It doesn't, you stupid fucking idiot. And number two, again, there are multiple countries out there that, in New Zealand, after the Christchurch shooting, they implemented new gun reform legislation, and nothing like this has happened in New Zealand since then. There has been no shooting like the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand since this new legislation has been introduced. And yet these people, they sit over here and say, oh, it's not going to work. The Democrats, they don't have the answers. But these people, they don't even offer any answers. They just run their fucking mouths. All they do is spew stupid fucking bullshit all the time. They don't ever give answers to anything. And then there are people that think that these people are really, really smart, and they know what they're talking about, when in reality, they're not saying anything at all. And what they're saying is really terrible. It's incorrect. It's wrong. It's just downright deplorable in a lot
We
of different
secured
ways.
the cockpit. And of course, leave it to Barack Obama to make this issue more divisive instead of allowing the nation to come together, mourn, and heal.
The red flag laws that's doing away with due process in this country.
But they say that if there's a flag on
This is
someone
Thomas
for
Massie.
certain behaviors, once they show that they don't have those behaviors, the gun, you can petition to get your gun back. You're laughing.
Yeah, and that doesn't always happen. You don't get an attorney appointed to you. It's not like a real court. And look, there's already laws in all 50 states that would let you adjudicate this and take away somebody's guns. But those laws involve a mental health expert. They involve a lawyer for the person who's being accused. Red flag laws turn that all around, and they end up with these, early morning raids on people that are just going to be irritated and frustrated, and there's no help for them after they're harassed.
There was
So, Thomas Massie just said that gun reform laws will make it so law-abiding gun owners will have their houses raided, their guns taken from them in the wee hours of the morning, and then that'll be it. That's what he just said. No one has ever said that. Nobody on either side has ever said anything like that. He just said some crazy fucking bullshit that he pulled out of his ass. I don't even know where he came up with that. Insane.
another moment from tonight I want to play. Watch.
We should repeal the liability shield that often protects gun manufacturers from being sued for the death and destruction caused by their weapons. They're the only industry in this country that has that kind of immunity.
The gun manufacturers can be sued if their product is defective.
Product liability.
So, Thomas Massie, Joe Biden was talking about making it so gun manufacturers can be sued if their weapons are, they can be liable if shootings happen with their weapons. And Remington recently was sued for something like that. It was a big lawsuit. And Thomas Massie said that, he said, you can sue the gun companies. You can sue them if the product is defective. And it's like, number one, I don't even know if he was listening. Number two, that's the most tone-deaf response ever. Dude, this man is so far removed from reality. It's insane to me that he even got on Fox News, let alone he's a public policy maker. I mean, this guy's a fucking,
Right, for product liability, for defective, just like for
defectiveness. That's his argument to Joe Biden said that manufacturers of guns should be held liable if their weapons are used in shootings and mass shootings and killings. And he says, well, you can sue I don't even know.
car. But if somebody misuses a car, then the car manufacturer's not,
Oh, they want to shut
liable
down
for that.
the gun companies like they hurt tobacco, right?
So she just said that they want to shut down the gun companies. Just completely. That's what Laura Ingraham said.
It's the same analogy that they use.
Yeah, and that's actually, they know that was the quickest way to put gun manufacturers out of business, is to open them up to frivolous lawsuits.
This is about politics.
Yeah, and we had a hearing today that lasted 10 hours where the Democrats in the House are going to put a smorgasbord of things that don't work. And
there we go. He says it again, just like all of these fucking Republicans, that they all are just sound so similar. You could just put clips of them playing and it doesn't even matter because they all say the exact same thing. He's not going to tell us why Democrats' legislation won't work. He's just going to say it doesn't work.
In front of senators in the Senate and try to get some of the weak-kneed Republicans to bite on that. But what was clear today in our hearing, and I think also in Joe Biden's speech, is that they're not serious about ending school shootings, but they are serious about taking away.
Why do you say they're not serious about it?
So he says Democrats aren't serious about ending school shootings. He says that they're serious about taking away guns and taking away the Second Amendment rights, to bear arms.
ending school shootings?
Because none of their solutions would work. If they really were serious, they would quit advertising our kids as being in gun-free zones. The schools that have gotten away from advertising that, the schools that have posted signs that said our staff is armed and they're willing to use force to stop somebody from hurting our kids, those schools have never seen a mass public
You think
shooting.
Ramo?
Okay, so again, this is the clip that I was referencing earlier. Thomas Massey just said that schools that post that they have armed staff don't have stuff like this happen to them. And again, there was an armed officer on the campus. I think it's Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. That was where it happened. There was an armed fucking former deputy sheriff, so the school resource officer on campus, and instead of intervening, he went and fucking fled for cover. So again, Thomas Massey's argument of the gun-free zone doesn't work and the being armed in school, that's what works. No, it doesn't, and it didn't work. It didn't work 4 years ago when that happened, and it's not gonna work now. It didn't work. It didn't work. So his argument is literally completely fucking void again, like all of the Republicans' arguments.
Most would have been stopped by that.
I think that these shooters go select. They're evil, but they're not stupid, and they are cowards, but they're trying to run up a body count. And if they know they're going to be shot when they go in there, they're not going to try it.
What of the?
So he just said, this is what he just said. He said that if shooters know that they're going to get shot when they try to commit a shooting, then they're not going to try it. That's what he said. And again, Thomas Massey just with the god-awful fucking brain-dead take. Just everything he said so far has just been fucking garbage. Like everything that's been said in this video completely. But you know, he's saying that these shooters are smart. That's what he said. He said the shooters are smart. And you know, I don't know. I can't. I don't know how to respond to a statement like that. If you have a gun that has bullets in it, like something like AR style rifle, like I don't know exactly what, but the shooter in Las Vegas 2017, he injured hundreds and hundreds of people. Over 400 people were injured from gunfire. The death count was very, 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 very high. And you know, he's sitting here saying that you know, these shooters are smart and they know what they're doing, and that's not what it is. That's not what it is. What it is gun laws in this country are way too fucking lax. They are. There is one other country, one big country out there that has gun laws similar to the United States, and that country is Brazil. That's the country that's closest to us, the biggest country that's closest to us in gun policy, and it's Brazil. That's what America is literally. That's the only comparison you can make is America to Brazil when it comes to this issue. And when that's the comparison, that's a problem, and that's sad. That's really fucking sad. And Thomas Massey makes this thing. He says, "Well, these shooters are so smart," and no, it's because it's easy to get a gun, and because it's easy for these people to go out and do stuff like this. And he just goes completely around the issue and just makes up some random, stupid, easily debunkable point about, you know, I don't even know. Just everything that these people say, it's like you don't even have to think. You don't even have to think about it because it's so stupid. Nothing they say makes sense.
The issues that were discussed today, the possible measures, anti-gun measures, would perhaps pass in the Senate if you had to predict right now. The raising the age for the ARs?
Maybe raising the age, not just for ARs, but any semi-automatic shotgun or rifle. That has the biggest chance. But the scariest one that they proposed today was that you have to store your firearms in a way that's federally approved, and if you don't, they can come in.
So, according to Fox News, raising the age to buy semi-automatic rifles, restricting large capacity magazines, new federal offenses for gun trafficking, firearm storage requirements, and ghost gun regulations are all bad things. Those are all things that we shouldn't do because they don't work. And again, they don't offer reasons why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work, and in turn that makes it bad. And Thomas Massey says, they might try and raise the age to get a gun. Yeah, if you think that's a bad thing, there's something wrong.
So that could be a pretext for taking your gun.
That could be a pretext for taking your guns. These people sitting here, trying to pass gun reform, and literally, try and make schools safer, try and make stuff safer for the citizens. They're trying to take away your right.
Job to defend the Second Amendment.
I understand that we don't have.
Okay, so
taking your
sorry,
It's our job to defend the Second Amendment.
I understand that.
Also, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody's favorite, said that it's our right to defend the Second Amendment. And something about the Constitution that I think all people forget is it's the Constitution, and they're called amendments. And in the Constitution, it's actually laid out that the amendments need to be amended as time goes on. And the Second Amendment was written, I don't fucking know exactly when it was written, but at the time the Second Amendment was written, the fastest firearm that human beings had, the fastest firearm that the people who wrote the Second Amendment had, was a musket that could shoot 3 bullets in the span of 2 minutes. That was the fastest weapon, and that was cutting edge at the time. A musket that in 2 minutes time could shoot 3 musket balls. That was literally their fastest gun when they wrote the Second Amendment. So
We don't have guns in the UK, that is true, but we don't have mass shootings either. Children aren't scared to go to school.
You have mass stabbings, lady.
So this UK reporter presses MTG and says, we have guns in the UK, but we don't have school shootings, and we don't have mass shootings, and kids aren't afraid to go to school. And Marjorie, she steps in with the real good one. You have mass stabbings, lady. So, again, that was a great response. Mass stabbings. I don't know. Mass stabbings are way worse than shootings because everybody knows that one knife is way, 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 way more dangerous than guns that shoot bullets. And then I love who we were just watching. We have Thomas Massey over here, and then we also have Lauren Boebert, who we saw earlier, and Marjorie Taylor Greene again just makes a total ass out of herself. Like every time she opens her mouth, she just makes herself look so fucking dumb and so just brainless.
You have all kinds of murder, and
you have all kinds of murder.
Nothing like the same rates.
Well, you can go back to your country and worry about your no guns.
That's very kind.
See, she said you can go back to your country and worry about your no guns. It's like, Marge, what are you doing? What the fuck are you? What are you saying? Fucking respond to it. Stop fucking doing this. You need to stop being a little fucking baby and fucking respond to this shit. I don't understand how they have mass stabbings. You literally have no response to what she said at all. You made yourself look really stupid there.
like ours here.
Tonight about
was
the
sad.
Democrats' anti-Second Amendment agenda.
Okay, again, anti-Second Amendment agenda. Here we go, Sean
Tried
Hannity,
to
my
warn you
favorite.
before the election, as the House is now set to vote on bills this week to expand gun background checks. You know, we already have background checks.
So again, Sean Hannity, House set to vote on bills to expand gun background checks. We already have background checks. It's like he's gonna fucking, like, I don't know, have a stroke over this shit. He's like freaking out about it. Like, dude, what is wrong with you? Why is it such a big deal?
Prompting strong pushback from conservatives and Republicans alike, who explain that it's really just part of the larger effort to restrict our Second Amendment rights to firearms and, of course, increase government surveillance of gun owners.
Increase government surveillance of gun owners and take away the Second Amendment right. Perfect. Again, no, none of those things. None of those things are. It's like I said. The Constitution was originally set up to where the amendments were supposed to be amended, so we update the Constitution with the times. We don't really do that. We don't do that here. I don't know why. People don't do it. But then when they do try to do stuff like this, you know, the Republicans, they literally are anti-democracy, in literally every single way. You know, they don't want to do anything that's different. It's crazy to me.
There's Texas Congressman Chip Roy earlier today.
And then
laying
there is this guy named Chip
out on
Roy
the
who's a
House floor.
representative.
Take a look.
We're going to listen to a guy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to listen to a man named Chip who can't wear his mask right. Grown man who can't fucking wear a mask around his fucking small head face. We're going to watch a man named Chip who literally can't wear a mask right explain why gun control is, why we can't have just,
and now my Democratic colleagues, after defunding the police.
Didn't happen. He says, and now my Democratic colleagues, after defunding the police, that shit didn't happen. Just recently, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat, one of the Democrats' favorite punching bags, literally gave law enforcement $300 million. So, Chip, you're fucking stupid. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. You are literally so wrong on that. That shit did not happen.
Opening up our borders.
Again, another fucking load, but that's not what I'm trying to focus on.
Take away our God-given right.
And there it is. There he said it.
Yes, God-given right to defend ourselves under the Second Amendment.
So, old Chippy boy here said that the Democrats are trying to take away the God-given right of the Second Amendment. And I can speak on this pretty fairly. I feel like I grew up in a Christian household. I went to church all for a long time, and my entire school career, all the way from preschool, kindergarten, all the way to my senior year, I was in a private school, private Christian schools, my whole life. I know the Bible front to back. There is not one goddamn verse in the Bible, one place in the fucking Bible where it says you get a gun. There is also no fucking place in the Bible. There is no place in the Bible where it says you have the right to defend yourself. That is not what it says in the Bible. There's no part of the Bible that says that. If you go and make up your own fucking fake Bible and just, say it's the Bible and, maybe that could be your Bible, then yeah, maybe in the Bible, God did say something like that. But the God-given right to defend yourself, that shit's not real. That's not even a real thing. If you're going to actually talk about something like this from a Christian perspective and a religious perspective, you need to at least get this shit right. You are literally just making up some random bullshit. It says in the Bible to turn the other cheek. That's what it actually says in the Bible. It does not say you get a right to have a gun. It does not say you have the right to bear arms. It does not say you have the right to defend yourself. That shit is not said in the fucking Bible. And if it is, I would love someone to show me that, especially in the New Testament, because according to the Bible, New Testament annexes the Old Testament. Again, the Bible says to turn the other cheek, does not have any fucking verses about the right to defend yourself, the right to bear arms, having a gun. That shit does not exist in the fucking Bible. So that argument is not valid.
That's what this is about.
And it's not. Chip, you're fucking stupid. You're an idiot. Shut the fuck up and sit down.
This is about creating a gun registry to track guns of the American people.
And then he says it's about creating a gun registry to track guns, and it's like, again, there's so many loopholes in this country of how to get a gun. Like the gun show loophole, which Republicans will tell you doesn't exist when it does.
No way to implement what the Democrats are trying to implement without doing that.
They're all trying to say it's part of this big mass surveillance state that the U.S. is trying to do, which we already do that. They already surveil us to a great extent. So, I don't know what he's talking about, but any form or any piece of gun reform legislation that these people could possibly come up with it's done. No, we're not doing it. It's not going to happen. We can't do it. Because it'll take away our rights.
Reaction, syndicated radio host Dana Lash and Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. All right, we're all big believers in the Second Amendment. I've had to, Dana, in the state of New York at one
Sorry, I just needed a minute.
point. I've been a pistol marksman since I'm 11 years old. My mom was a prison guard. My dad worked in family court probation. When they said you can only have 7 bullets in a magazine, I went to 7 bullets. I obey all the laws, and they
Okay, so Sean Hannity's going to sit here and talk about
changed it back. But the point is, it is so restrictive in states like New York already. Where do you see this going?
So again, he's talking about how the new laws restrict gun owners and gun rights, and he's talking about how we only let you carry 7 bullets in the magazine, and it's like, man, there are some countries where you literally don't get a gun. You don't even have that option. So, again.
Yeah.
They think that trying to make the freest country in the world a safer place is somehow a bad thing.
Sean, and that's a great point.
And that doesn't...
And really, come to Texas. We're a little more freer here, although there are some states around
little more
Texas that are doing
freer
us a little bit better than we are with Second Amendment rights. I hate saying that, heaven forbid. But, to your point, these two pieces
I'm sorry.
Legislation that looks like they're going to get voted on, at least the procedural stuff tomorrow, H.R. 8 and then H.R. I think it's 1446, and it's looking at what Congressman Chip Roy said there. You can't have criminalized private transfers and not have a gun registry.
So she was saying that you can't have criminalized private transfers, which is literally what gun shows are. You do a private transfer, and with the thing about a private transfer is you don't have to run a background check, and that is one of the that's a big way that people get guns to do bad stuff with, because if you are a private seller, especially in the state I live in, and I live in the state of Virginia, you are not required to run a background check if you are a private seller.
And what you talked about, Sean, the limit on magazine capacity, I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to pass something like that, although I think it's unconstitutional.
So limit on magazine capacity is unconstitutional. So, if you want, you can go get the fucking, and yes, they do have them. I have seen them. 50-round drum mag for your Glock, and walk down the street, because that's part of the Constitution. The Constitution says you can. It says you can.
Legal
so you
precedent on
can.
this.
You should.
But, people can also just swap out mags. I can swap a mag out in less than a second, right? I can do it one-handed in like a second. So you just carry multiple magazines, which I shouldn't have to because we're Americans. But then you.
So she literally just said that she shouldn't have to carry multiple magazines because we're Americans, but then she says just everything that just came out of her mouth was so contradictive and so fucking brainless. I can't even respond to it. I really can't. Just not, her whole sentence just came off the rails because she just fucking argued against herself in the same sentence. What are you talking about?
Also have HR 8, and that's the one I think that Sheila Jackson Lee, James Clyburn are behind. That's also you have the criminalization of private transfers. They want to expand the waiting period to 10 days. So a right delayed is a right denied.
So she just said that they want to expand the waiting period on background checks and receiving firearms to 10 days. And she said a right delayed is a right denied, which, again, I don't know how anyone can sit there and say something that's fucking stupid when that's not true at all. That's literally not true. You know, again, Republicans fast to act on abortion, don't act on guns. They want to sit here and say that, you know, this is restricting rights. They restrict the right to abortion. They restrict access to abortion. And, you know, then they sit here and say, this woman just said, a right delayed is a right denied, even though it's not. It's literally not. But actually denying rights to women to have abortions is okay. So glad we're on the same page. All these people are fucking idiots.
I think at some point we're going to have some sort of compromise on rights, maybe possibly get through the Senate. And I hate even saying those words out loud.
Well, I don't know where the compromise is. Pete Hegg said, Pete, I've had to literally, after laws changed, I've had to literally melt down guns that I own and buy other guns that meet the new standards. Oftentimes, they're only cosmetic differences anyway. And nobody seems to know what they're talking about in Washington as it relates to any gun.
I've had to do the same thing, Sean, moving state to state. You put a pin in it, you change the muzzle, and suddenly it's illegal, and now it's legal.
So these stupid motherfuckers are complaining that gun laws change, and then they have to, you know, they'll have to make the firearms that they have or get new firearms that meet the actual, you know, new regulations. Based on whatever legislation was passed. And, you know, sitting here and listening to these people complain about something that fucking stupid is really pathetic, in my opinion. You know, they're sitting here saying, you know, oh my God, I had to, you know, go buy a new gun because then and then, number one, that doesn't really fucking happen. I don't know what Sean Hannity's talking about. They do not pass the biggest gun laws that have been changed the biggest gunless legislation that's been passed in recent times is the bump stock ban. That is the biggest legislation that's been passed on gun control in recent times, and I think that was 2017, I'm pretty sure, or 2018. It was after the Vegas shooting. So you know, I don't know what they're talking about with this, but
It's a patchwork, no doubt. But it would not be a progressive takeover of our country, which the left is trying to do, if they didn't make a real solid run at the Second Amendment. They want to.
Again, they're just talking about how the Democrats and the left and the radical left are they're gonna take, you're gonna fucking take over the country, progressive takeover, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. It's literally just the same Republican talking points that all of these Republicans say. There's no substance to it. There's literally just no intelligence behind it. They literally just hear something, they all repeat it. It's
bureaucrat between you and your right to bear arms. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's easy. But right behind what Dana is talking about, she's exactly right, the Democrats are focusing in on that, is another bill from Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, which would create the National Gun Registry. Minimum ownership age of 21, psychological evaluations, federal government training course. The left does not believe in the Second Amendment. So while they unlock our ballot box, which you did a great job laying out H.R. 1, they want to unlock it and open it up in every way. They want to lock and raid our gun cabinets.
So he just said that they want to lock and raid our gun cabinets. And it's like I said, again, I don't know why you need more than one gun. You know, I don't know if these people are planning to go to war with each other and they're all going to shoot and kill each other. I don't know if they're that fucking stupid. I don't know why they sit there and be like, they're trying to take our guns. Why do you even need more than one weapon. Do you need a gun locker? Do you really need that? What are you going to do with all those guns? It doesn't make sense. And then, you know, he sits there and says that, you know, national gun registry is, you know, that's somehow, again, a bad idea. I don't know how. It's weird. It's just weird that they think that all of these things...
ownership age of 21.
A gun ownership age of 21, that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they can't... they should just lower the gun ownership to 5. It should be 5 years old. After you're 5, you can get a handgun. Or, actually, not a handgun, No. You have to be 21 to have a handgun. You have to be 21 to have a handgun. Yeah, you can be... When you're 5, you can get a semi-auto. A semi-automatic rifle. I don't know why they just don't lower the age to 5 years old. Well, I mean, 21, it should just be 5. I can't believe 5-year-olds don't have the right to bear arms in this country.
Psychological evaluations.
Psychological evaluations. We're going to vet people that buy guns? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? You're going to take away my right to bear arms? It's like, dude, when you say this stuff out loud and then say it's bad, like, dude, he just sounds like a straight up criminal. It's like, dude, you just sound like you just want total anarchy. What the fuck are you talking about? And then you say the Republicans are law and order. They're the complete opposite of law and order, which we already know that. We know how they operate, but it's like, what are you doing? What are these people doing? I don't know. You know, I think that this is, really ridiculous, and just to say the least. I don't know. I don't understand how these people can sit here and say this stuff and not be completely ashamed of themselves and just feel like the